I hope you guys know how interesting things are about to get. Many of us on the left have been warning Trump supporters that Donald Trump is a toxic narcissist, as is much of the administration, and everybody eventually gets burned, and you're going to get burned. And American cattle farmers right now, we are watching a full-blown narcissist attack against cattle farmers. So if you don't know what's going on, Trump has decided that because beef is so expensive because of his tariffs and his deportations, he's going to purchase beef from Argentina. And by flooding the market with more beef, bring the costs down for all of us. And the immediate response of the American cattle farmers, almost overwhelmingly, they probably voted for Donald Trump, are like, what? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? This is hurting us. And here's where it gets interesting. Trump responded exactly like a narcissist. He essentially said, you cattle farmers don't know how good you have it under me, which is gaslighting. And he said, you guys need to lower the price of your beef because you're basically the reason beef is so expensive. Classic narcissism, classic attack. It's classic. I can tell you right now, they are going through something. If anybody's been on the receiving end of that kind of narcissistic blow, it's traumatizing. But I got to tell you this. These Trump-supporting cattle farmers are not going to get any sympathy from other MAGA voters. See, this is also where, like if you're part of a church environment where the pastor is a narcissist and you get burned and you wake up and you start crying to the other parishioners that are still under the narcissist's spell, they turn on you. They're not going to be there to back you. These other MAGA supporters, MAGA voters, are not going to support these cattle farmers when they start turning on Donald Trump. And that's going to be another type of trauma these farmers are going to experience. Now, I, on the left, can behave just like many Trump supporters have behaved to this date and say, too bad, farmers. You asked for it. I don't care. All I care about is the price of beef is going down. Yay, Donald Trump. That's all I care about. I could say that, but I'm not MAGA. This actually hurts me to see all this, having been on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse myself. This is just pay attention, you guys. This is going to be a big awakening for that part of America.
I find it absolutely disgusting as beef prices are going up and up, along with all food items increasing steadily. And Donald Trump is here blaming beef farmers for pricing their beef too high when he places tariffs on items and then slaps more tariffs on them and then turns around and says he's going to import beef from Argentina. Farmers, you're getting screwed. And us consumers are getting screwed as well. This isn't a problem of just beef farmers having too high of prices, because the cost of inputs, the feed that farmers have to get, the processing, and all the other things that go into processing beef is costing more. Why? Because of the tariffs. But Donald Trump has the audacity to tell us, and especially farmers, that they don't understand exactly how things work. Yeah, I'm believing that they believe they know how things work, and they're getting screwed by Donald Trump, Republicans, and this administration.
So Donald Trump is now feuding with America's cattle ranchers, telling them that they should be thankful for him, that they are not being grateful enough, after the cattle ranchers expressed frustration that Donald Trump is importing Argentine beef in order to deal with high beef prices. So here you see a tweet where Trump attacks the U.S. cattle ranchers for their high prices and suggests that they do not understand their own industry. He says that he understands their industry much better than they do. He writes, "The cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also." And Trump was not done there. He then wrote, "In addition to everything else, tariffs on other countries saved our cattle ranchers." Just the complete opposite of the truth. It's just a complete and total lie. These tariffs are absolutely devastating our cattle ranchers, and they are feeling the effects. And importing Argentine beef is just yet another bailout for Argentina. It's nothing to do with America first, and actually really hurts our farmers. Yesterday, Merriweather Farms wrote this whole long post. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they said, "We love and support you, but your suggestion to buy beef from Argentina to stabilize beef prices would be an absolute betrayal to the American cattle rancher." It's time to learn who this man is, Merriweather Farms. "We understand that there are larger economic and geopolitical dynamics at play, including countering CCP influence in countries in our hemisphere. Argentina sells soybeans to the CCP. Donald Trump is helping the CCP by doing this." And maybe the craziest part about all this is Trump's plan doesn't even make any sense. Not only do the ranchers oppose Trump's Argentina beef imports, but experts say that it will not even lower prices at all. So here we go again, another Trump term. The farmers get screwed over again, and Trump says that they should say thank you. We'll keep covering all the news. Remember to follow along and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Donald Trump just had the nerve to say that he saved American ranchers and that we wouldn't even have beef in this country if it wasn't for him. He's saying this as he's actively flooding the U.S. market with cheap imported Argentina beef, undercutting American farmers and driving them into bankruptcy. Even Trump-supporting ranchers say they feel betrayed. Look at this.
Very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yep.
Isn't that just unbelievable? He could not be more delusional if he tried. Trump has the nerve to say he saved U.S. ranchers while his trade policies are actively crippling them. His choice to massively increase beef imports from Argentina has caused U.S. cattle prices to plummet. Independent ranchers, the backbone of rural America, are being squeezed out while multinational meat corporations are profiting off of cheap foreign supply. The irony here is painful. Many of these ranchers supported Trump in both elections, believing his America First lie. But now, even lifelong Republican farmers from places like Texas to Oklahoma to Arkansas are starting to speak out. And rightfully so. He betrayed them. He sold out to foreign producers and lied straight to their faces. And to add insult to injury, he's now on TV saying these ranchers should be thanking him despite the fact they're going bankrupt because of his policies. A billionaire is helping massive corporations and not the American people. How surprising is that?
Donald Trump is now blaming farmers and ranchers for high food prices, suggesting they don't understand their business as well as he does. Now, as you know, food prices across the board are rising quickly, with beef in particular going sky high. And Donald Trump has done little to address these prices except slap on more tariffs and import beef from Argentina. Well, Trump has received pushback by farmers on this, and Trump has responded by saying cattle ranchers don't understand that the only reason they're doing well is because of the tariffs. It would be nice if they would understand that. But they also have to get prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. That's right, cattle ranchers. You're the reason beef is high. You've raised your prices too high. And what you need to understand is that it's Donald Trump's tariffs are the reason you're doing well. And now you need to lower the prices for the American consumer. The president of the United States is not blaming his tariffs. He is blaming the American food producers for the high prices. This is the current state we're in.
Picture this. You've got a president sitting in the White House right now who's already crapped all over the veterans. He's already crapping on the farmers. He's destroying the soybean market, which China was a big part of, like it or not. They definitely were. And now he's turning around and telling ranchers, cattle ranchers in particular, the only reason you're successful is because of me. My tariffs brought peace to the world and peace in the Middle East. He's talking about a ceasefire that lasted, 3 days? 4 days? There's been dozens upon dozens of people getting killed, and he's still taking credit for it. What ceasefire? I don't see a ceasefire in place. Let's go back to the cattle rancher, though. These guys have worked their whole lives. They're generational farms, they're generational ranches, and he's taking credit for any type of success they have. It's only because of him and his tariffs that have saved them. Yeah, that's right. You don't know what the hell you're doing because you've only done this for, 40, 50 years, and you did it after your father and after your grandfather? Generational farms, generational ranches. And he's sitting in the White House behind the Resolute desk inside the Oval Office taking credit for your work. And you know what the saddest part is? Now, I hate to say this, but you voted for him. Every one of you stood up there and said, but you told us you loved us. Now we need to see the fruits of your love. Well, you're saying that now, but you weren't saying that last year around this time, were you? Everybody kept listening to Donald Trump talk about how Joe Biden's ruined the economy, destroyed the economy. You better go back and start looking at the numbers again, because if it wasn't for Joe Biden, the soybean market would have still been shit after Trump's first term in office. Because they were during his first term, if you recall, he had to bail out the farmers to the tune of $23 billion, billion with a B. Now they're looking at $15 billion, and the number keeps going up and up. And he's going to take credit for being able to bail you out. He still doesn't understand that these tariffs get passed along to us, the consumer. And there's a lot of people out on the MAGA side saying, no, that's not true. I just saw messages about it the other day. China pays those. Well, why would China pay an import tariff? The importer in this country imports products. They pay the import tariff. They pass it along to the wholesaler, passes it along to the retailer. Do you think he's going to eat that cost? They might absorb a little bit of it. They can for a while. The bigger box store companies can. But the mom and pop shops that count on these imports, they're not going to make it. They're already starting to close down. We've got farmers around here that are already talking about selling their land because they can't afford to. They can't afford to even just keep their beans in storage. They have to sell their product to get ready for the next season. And he's taking credit for all of this. Well, he better take credit for it because he's ruining people's lives right now. Well, he's trying to take credit for telling you that you were never a success. You were never successful until I came along. What does he know about farming? What does he know about ranching? He didn't even know the word grocery still existed. People go to grocery stores every day. And he thinks he came up with a new word? That's a special kind of stupid.
Thanks for clicking to watch today's video. And as the saying goes, what goes around comes around. So Trump put tariffs to protect the American farmers and the ranchers, but the same tariffs that he put to protect them went ahead to hurt them, and they brought about the skyrocketing of the beef prices and also food prices, for example, the groceries and so on and so forth. And right now, he is putting the blame to the people who really trusted on him and voted for him in huge numbers. Those are the beef ranchers and also the MAGA farmers. I have compiled this video for you. We do not own the rights of this video. They belong to the original owners of the video. So let's dive in.
Nothing says I saved American ranchers like destroying American ranchers.
So I'm very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yeah, Brian?
This is rich. Trump sitting there in his gold-plated room, patting himself on the back about how the ranchers are so happy, how he saved them, how he wouldn't even have beef without him. Absolutely delusional. Because while he's jerking himself off about saving ranchers, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, you know, the people who actually ranch cattle, released this. They're calling his plan the wrong approach that creates chaos and does nothing to lower grocery store prices. They're not mincing words here. They literally had to at the White House and beg him to stop screwing them over. They're asking him to let cattle markets work without interference. Translation: please stop pretending to help us while you stab us in the back. And Meriwether Farms, they called it exactly what it is, an absolute betrayal to the American cattle rancher. Not disappointing, not concerning, betrayal. So here's what actually happened. Trump's tariffs jack up beef prices. American ranchers can't compete. His solution? Import cheaper beef from Argentina to undercut American ranchers he claims to love, while prices still don't drop for consumers. Everybody loses except Argentina. This is what you voted for, MAGA. This, the guy who wrapped himself in the flag and promised to protect American workers, is selling out American ranchers to cover for his own failed trade policy. And the kicker, the ranchers screaming about this, a lot of them probably voted for him. twice. He does not care about you. He cares about the headline. He cares about the photo op. He cares about being able to lie to your face and say, I saved the ranchers, while they're literally behind him yelling, no, you didn't. But please, tell me again how he's the champion of the working class. I'll wait. Spoiler alert, he never was.
I don't know, y'all. I'm still having a hard time believing that 77 million Americans voted to make Argentina great again. Because tell me, why did Donald Trump put out a Truth Social post today to cattle ranchers telling them they don't understand why they're getting screwed and artificially reduce their prices, explain to them why, and not that they were sold out to Argentina. So let's see if the cattle ranchers are dumb enough to believe this cow shit. Because I can already hear some of them saying the tariffs are going to work out. Just as long as we can ride out several months of no revenue and bankruptcy. Government controlling pricing and the market and the volume. That sure sounds like a word that Republicans and conservatives hate and really blame Democrats for. What word is that? I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, MAGA is mad about it. They're saying this is not the plan I was sold. And Farmers for Trump appalled. How could he do this? We were farmers for Trump. Why isn't Trump for the farmers? Furthermore, in case you missed it, the administration is already warning that Argentina beef might be diseased. But we're still going to import it. All right, but just to recap, in case you're lost in the sauce, Trump started a trade war. And then he bailed out Argentina, and he sold their soybeans to China instead of from our U.S. farmers. And he hasn't helped with any of this tariff revenue. And now he's bailing out Argentina again. And now he's saying we're going to buy their beef. So this just proves two things. Number one, tariffs are a scam. And secondly, that his supporters are dumb.
Trump is now questioning the intelligence of American cattle ranchers. He just said the cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put a tariff on the cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years, terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. I don't think he's questioning their intelligence, but he is highlighting a key tension. American cattle farmers do better when the price of beef is higher, and Trump has used tariff to cut off foreign supply and prioritize our farmers, but now the price of beef is at all-time highs, which is bad for the consumer. Oh, so Trump is starting to see the unintended effects of tariffs we've been warned about, but also the reason beef prices are so high extend beyond tariffs. It's because of a drought, record high feed costs, and the smallest U.S. cattle herd in 75 years. So although prices are high, many American cattle ranchers are still struggling. One of the reasons we're seeing this small U.S. cattle herd is because foreign countries have long flooded our markets with lower quality meats, yet our farmers have been constrained by their access to international markets, forcing many ranchers to close shop, which is the problem tariffs are trying to solve. The solution Trump is offering now is to buy more Argentina beef and flood our markets even more, while our ranchers are begging for other solutions. For instance, passing Republican Thomas Massey's, who is a cattle rancher himself, his Prime Act, which would deregulate and allow for easier local buying from ranchers, and other things like administrating mandatory country of origin labeling, stopping China from buying our farmland, and breaking up the four big packers that control 85% of our beef market, among other actions to reinvigorate American ranchers, not just flood the market. And I'm sure Trump is considering all those options, but in the short term, the American consumer can use some price relief. And we already import about 12% of our beef supply, and since Brazilian beef is 50% more expensive now due to the tariffs, buying from Argentina to fill that gap doesn't sound crazy. What sounds crazy is looking for global solutions when you ran on America first. Okay, now you're the one sounding like the isolationist. Welp.
Trump's grand plan to start buying beef from Argentina is not popular. This is why he just tweeted this just probably less than half an hour ago. The cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible, because what does he know about cattle ranching? Really, what does he know about it? Absolutely nothing. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. Sir, they also have to earn a living. These are people that probably predominantly voted for him. And he's over here doing that abusive relationship rhetoric. Not for me, then you would be so horribly off. Now, this tweet is a reply to the pushback that he has been getting from saying that we need to start buying beef from Argentina. That has not been popular, like I said, even among MAGA. I've even been reading in comment sections people that are pretty historically pro everything that he does, is they're now saying things like this I don't agree with. And so, a narcissist, an abuser, they don't like, they're insecure, and they don't like when people disagree with them. That's why No King's Day pissed him off. And it pisses him off that there's articles like this. This tweet, I guarantee you, is a reply to articles like this. This was published yesterday. The headline, Why U.S. Cattle Ranchers Say Trump's Argentine Beef Import Talk is No Solution to Domestic Supply Threat. Again, these are what the cattle ranchers, the experts in that field. Trump has this, and his whole administration have this thing where they don't like to listen to experts. Of course, you can pull this up to read it yourself. You see the headline and the source right there. But the key points from this article, President Donald Trump floated the idea of importing Argentine beef after his administration's recent bailout plan for the cash-strapped Latin American nation. Remember, we've given like $40 million or something like that money to Argentina. America first. Other key points, U.S. cattle farmers are not happy with what they say would amount to market manipulation to drive down beef prices that hit a record this year. Cattle farmers say dwindling herds due to drought, now at the lowest level since the 1950s, threat of new world screwworm, the reason the government's not doing enough to fix these issues just by beef from Argentina, which does not fix anything at all. So that's why we have tweets like this. If you are a cattle rancher, or if you know somebody who is a cattle rancher, let me know your perspective on this.
So this is what happened. So when Trump imposed heavy tariffs on the imported beef from Brazil, the goal was so simple. He wanted to protect the U.S. farmers. He also wanted to reduce foreign competition, and also he wanted to encourage, the American production. That was the main goal. But what the tariffs did is that they came and they skyrocketed the beef prices, and things became so expensive to the Americans. And right now, Trump is blaming the ranchers because of the high cost of beef prices, and he's telling them to lower the beef prices. And right now he has found a solution. He's saying that, and is planning to start importing the beef from Argentina. Can you imagine? And he is betraying the ranchers, the same people who trusted in him, the same people who are loyal and voted for him in huge numbers, the same people who believed in his policies are the ones who are being blamed. Can you imagine? So that's why I'm asking you the question today. Who is to blame in this? Is it the Trump's trade policies, or the ranchers are to blame for the high skyrocketing prices of the beef? So I'd love to listen and read to what you have to say. So kindly comment down there, share, subscribe, and also like, and also thank you so much for watching our video today.